In this live garage workout video, we're going to go over the nunchucks, how to use your nunchucks for beginners. This is the basic beginner nunchuck lesson. You're always going to start with your hand in the middle and start with this circular motion, this orbital spin. The outside, you turn your hand over, bring it to the other side, turn your palm up, spinning it forward. You spin it forward, you just push and pull. Bring it over, bring it back, put it together, and now you have a simple figure 8 spin. Put it into the other hand, palm faces the sky. Same thing, you're gonna crank it forward, turn your palm over. You always do both hands evenly. Do one hand, you do the other hand, the same. Put it together. There's your basic figure 8 motion. Now we're gonna go over how to use it for self-defense too in this video. You can hold it here at the very bottom to get the maximum amount of striking power because of leverage. If you hold it here, you have this entire length to hit them with. When you start to move your hand closer, this is for doing faster tricks. If you have it more in the middle, that's for doing certain kinds of hand passing tricks. And by tricks, I mean fancy moves that you're not going to use for self-defense. But when you hold it here at the very end and you follow through with basic strikes, you have a vertical strike, you have a diagonal strike from both sides coming forward and coming up, both sides. Then you have horizontal strikes. Those are just basic strikes, and that's how you use it for self-defense. Everything else, or not everything else, most everything else, you also have blocking motions. You can wrap it around. You can catch someone's hand or weapon, wrap it, and pull, either breaking their bone or pulling the weapon out of their hand. You can also use it that way, but it's super simple. For self-defense, you're using it the same way you would a stick. The difference between this and a stick is that there's a chain in the middle or a string, depending on what you've got, and that makes it move a little bit differently. Back to the training. Your hand goes back in the middle. We're going to do that same spin, but now in reverse. So you're pulling it back and in towards you. Same thing as before. You're going to turn your hand over so the palm faces the ground, and you're going to pull it backward. And to make it go backward, you pull it in a circle. You turn your palm up. There's the circle. These are reverse spins, palm down, put them together. There's your reverse figure 8. Now, if you're wondering where you would hold it for spinning in any direction, you can hold it in all these areas. Again, holding it close to the chain of the spring, it makes it move faster. String, not spring. Holding it in the middle gives you more options, more control, and allows you to use it more for demonstrations or showing off or fancy. And then holding it here at the very bottom. You can still spin this way, but it doesn't look as fancy. It's more chunky, and you really wouldn't spin that way. There's not much benefit to that. All right, so we have the reverse spin. We put it in the other hand. Palm faces up. Remember, everything you do in the right, you're going to do in your left. Turn your hand down. Palm faces the dirt. Palm facing up. Palm facing down. Put it together. There's your reverse figure 8. Now, back to this basic spin. When we bring it around this way, Mark asks, does the chain have an advantage over the cord? Hey, Matthew, it's good to see you. Good evening. It doesn't really, in my opinion. Chains are heavier. Chains are stronger. If you had a bladed weapon and you were to try to block it, the chain is less likely to break. A string, it's going to slice right through it. So that's the biggest difference between a chain and a string. You can see that this is a longer chain. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 links in this chain. Some have 3. If it has 3, it's a short chuck, which is also known as a speed chuck. Those are more for demonstration. The longer chuck like this, and especially a heavy metal, heavy duty. I was eating peppers. I'm eating peppers earlier. My mouth is all, they were delicious, by the way. They're pickled peppers. Picked a peck. That's funny. I never thought of that since I was a little kid. Anyway, point is, the heavier metal nunchuck, wood nunchuck, is great for self-defense. And you would prefer to have a chain for that. Good question, Mark. Thank you for asking. All right, back to the spin. So we did the forward, we did the reverse. Now I want to do a spin here on the outside. I'm going to bring it to the front and the back of the arm. And then I'm going to bring my arm down and catch it, squeezing. And as you squeeze it, you're going to push your hand forward. That's simply pointing your pinky finger to the ground. While you're holding on to it, that creates tension while you're still squeezing it. You release the tension into a strike. And the strike is just coming. It's a diagonal strike. if you were to bring it straight out, it's more likely to smack you in the knuckles. If you bring it this way, it's more likely to spin back past your hand and not hit you in the hand. So the technique here is a couple of spins. You hit the upper arm front and back, you pinch it down, you squeeze, create tension, and then you release. You see those a lot in the Bruce Lee movies. He does this motion, he goes front and back, he catches it, he squeezes, he pauses, and then pops him. I think you probably also see it in the movies where they depict Bruce Lee later, an actor depicting an actor, which is kind of interesting if you think about it, like the Ip Man movie is what I'm thinking of. I think maybe Ip Man 4 or something. He spins it. If you know which Ip Man movie has the Bruce Lee characters in it, let me know. Bruce Lee obviously wasn't a character, he was an actor, but when they played him in the movie, you know what I mean, put it in there. What other martial artists use the nunchuck? In the movies, right? Front, back, catch, catch, catch. That's just an iconic move. Now you know how to do it. Make sure you practice here, a couple of spins, front and back. To go front and back, you're just simply turning your hand down, turning it back. When it comes in, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Again, like putting your pinky toward the floor, push, 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 pop them. Make sure when it comes out, it's coming out at that angle. Fist of Fury, yeah, one of the Bruce Lee movies. Game of Death. I think he fights Game of Death. He fights Dan Inosanto, who again is not a character, played a character in the movie. Dan Inosanto was the one that taught Bruce Lee how to use the nunchucks. Bruce Lee taught him the Wing Chun, maybe, I guess, or Jeet Kune Do, and then Dan, I don't know, I wasn't there. If you were there, let me know, put that in the comment section. Hey, Mark. Yeah, Bruce Lee, yeah, all the different movies that came along with these different actors that had different versions of L-E is what Mark's saying, who pretended to be a Bruce Lee. That's really typical if you think about it. All the Chinese knockoff garbage that you can find on Temu and AliExpress where they rip off other people's intellectual property. That was the original ripoff when the guys came from China with all these different versions, spellings of the Bruce Lee movie. That's an aside. Let's go back to the nunchucks. All right, just having fun. You're gonna hold here at the end. We're gonna go through a back to the strikes. So this one is a vertical strike coming down. This is a horizontal or a diagonal strike coming from the shoulder to the opposite hip, and then from the opposite hip to the same opposite shoulder to the same hip. Getting ahead of myself here. And then the third is just that basic horizontal strike coming across and coming back. Hey, Joey's here. Says great show as always. Thank you. Was it in Afghanistan? Thank you so much for your service. I know I don't always say that to everybody, but if you served in Afghanistan, I really do appreciate that. I know what sacrifice you guys made. Hey, Joey's in Cleveland, 100% Sicilian. Amen, brother. Cleveland's cold. Cleveland's cold any time in the winter, but I think you guys have been getting a lot of lake effect snow lately, right? And then it's all the way down in here. It's cold here in the garage. This is a funny experience. Normally I do these videos most of the year. I'm pouring sweat because it's so hot in Florida. This morning I went out, got in the pool. The pool was 54 degrees. The air was 30 degrees. There was a cold wind blowing. And I know that's not cold for Cleveland, not even close. But it's cold for Florida. But I still have a lot of my Ohio blood, so I'm not as affected. All right, so Mark says, Joey, thanks for your service. So we're going down and up. We've got that diagonal strike. We have it coming from both sides. And anytime you use the chucks, anytime you go in one direction and then you bring it back the opposite way, following that same, those are two strikes. So you have a strike down, you have a strike up. Think about cracking him on the top of his head for self-defense. Think about he's reaching out with that punch and then smashing his hand as you come up or hitting him up under the chin. Think about bringing it down on the side of his face, right across the cheek for self-defense, and then bringing it up. Again, he's reaching with that hand. Maybe he's going to stab or grab or slash, and you're going to smack that right out of his hand, coming across the face and bringing it back on the other side, insult to injury for self-defense. But then we bring Bruce Lee back into it, the original Bruce Lee, not one of the knockoffs. And we're going to go into a Bruce Lee triangle. And this is one that is done well when you choke up on it and you put your hand more in the middle. You can do it here, you can do it here, you can do it here. You do it there, and it's really fast. I don't think it looks as cool as here with this chuck, but every nunchuck is a little bit different, the way they're made. And it's really just a diagonal strike, a horizontal strike, and a vertical strike coming up. So we have down, we have back, we have up, and then if you put it in the other hand, you would do the same thing. And back to the self-defense question, because people ask me this all the time, hey, that's a great fancy show-off weapon, but it's not practical for self-defense, is it? And I say, well, it's not something that I would carry for self-defense, but I'm not gonna say you can't defend yourself with it, because especially if you had a pair like this, and you came through with any of these basic strikes, if you kept it simple, and you kept it to horizontal strikes, vertical strikes, diagonal strikes, then you can defend yourself with this. And if you don't want to get hit with that, that's going to hurt. I don't care who it is. And people are going to say, oh, it's going to bounce off of them and come back and hit you. And not if you know how to strike and you learn how to follow through and you learn where to hold and how to move your hand through that strike. It's not coming back and smacking you in the head. That's a myth. That's somebody who doesn't know how to use it. And maybe it happened to them because they didn't use it right. But we're going to use it for showing off and doing some fancy stuff because it's fun. Yeah, Joe, Cobley says, oh, it just disappeared. Sorry, too fast. Can't read that fast anymore. The next trick we're gonna do, it's not really a trick, next technique is gonna be this hand-to-hand transfer, and we're going in reverse. So think of that diagonal strike back, you reach across your body, it's hanging down there in the front, you grab it, you bring it to the other side, and your hand goes across the front of the body. This is important, going in front of the body and not behind the body, because you can't reach back there and it won't do anything anyway. But I tell you that because I've seen people try. When I teach you in person, and I've taught probably thousands between all my students over 30 years, and then online, we're getting into the tens of thousands, if not more. And then all of the seminars and stuff. So we come across the body, grab it. But during that training, I'll see people trying to get it back there, and then they bring it out, and they're not sure why it doesn't work. It's because you're going behind your back. Make sure you check yourself going in front of the body, bring it to the other side, and it's as simple as this is perpendicular to the ground like a tree growing up. The hand comes to the front of the body, you grab it, your back here, bottom of your hand, back of the hand will come to the bottom of your elbow. Take it, or up under that tricep, really it's the upper arm, grab it, bring it across, and slow and smooth becomes fast. So you slow it down at the beginning, and then once you get the motion, you can speed it up and do as fast as you want. You can do it all day long without hitting yourself. I just smacked myself in the knuckles right before I said that. But it didn't kill me. Don't be afraid to hit yourself. You're not gonna die. Don't put a helmet on. Don't go get a pair of soft foam nunchucks. Unless you already have some, use those. But then graduate yourself, move yourself up, progress yourself to a metal pair or a wooden pair. And don't just stick with because you don't learn fast enough. And you don't learn it well if you go too soft. If you take all the pain out of learning something, you're not gonna learn it well. You take all the pain out of life, life becomes boring and mushy, like overcooked pasta, Joey. We don't want any of that. The hands are straight up. You bring it across and you miss it. You bring it across. There's that diagonal strike. And you're just reversing everything. So your hand is gonna come to the bottom, the back of your hand, the bottom of that elbow or that upper arm. And then you just turn your hand up, and because your hand is open, it's gonna go right there in the web of the hand, between the thumb and the first finger. And if you keep it simple like that, there's the diagonal strike, hand to the bottom of the elbow, turn it up, make sure the other hand is open, and don't point this at your head. If you don't want to hit yourself in the head, yeah, Matthew says a few bumps and bruises, part of the learning process. Bring it across. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And I think recently I showed you going behind the neck. I'll save that for another one, just because I know myself and I'm gonna smack myself in the face because I'm tired. It's been a long day, right? Bring it across. When we do these in the morning, I like to show you more complicated techniques sometimes. But I've learned the hard way. It's easier to keep it simple. And that could be your training too. Keep it simple. When you're tired, do simple stuff, do basic stuff, but do something, right? And then when you've got a lot of energy, push yourself, try something new. We'll do something new right here. Let's do a wrist roll. And the wrist roll is here, turning your hand up. The chain, the string, the other chuck comes at the back of the hand. The hand opens, it turns away from you, thumb facing the ground, takes the other stick, completes the turn, and then when you get it here, you reverse it. Back of the hand, palm opens, thumb faces the sky, takes it, and then you just practice that motion. And again, slow is smooth, smooth is fast, take your time. As we said in the Army, crawl, walk, run. Joey, you remember that? We said it in the Marine Corps too, but I think in the Marine Corps it was, I don't know. I don't remember what it was in the Marine Corps. But Marine Corps, they probably just said, shut up, keep going, get back. That's what they say. Get back, do it again. Get back, do it again. Do it again, do it again. And eventually, whether it was crawl, walk, run, which is just a gentle, sweet, kind way to say it. Get back, do it again, get back. That's the Marine Corps way. They don't waste time on your feelings so much. I noticed that when I went to the Army National Guard, after having been in the Marine Corps, I realized that there was a lot different teaching method. They had a different culture, as it were. Not a bad culture. And that's what I say about martial arts. When people look at martial arts and say, well, what's better? Kung Fu, Karate, Taekwondo, Tai Chi, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Oh, you got to learn BJJ. If you learn you learn anything else, it's garbage. You got to do Krav Maga. Everything else is... And it's like, no, it's not good. It's not bad. It's different. Learn it. Learn what you want. Learn what speaks to you. You might have the personality of a Kung Fu person. You might have the personality of a Taekwondo person. You might have the personality of a BJJ guy with big cauliflower ear and the bad knees. You might have the personality of judo, where I started in martial arts. You might have the personality of a boxer. I love boxing. You like getting hit in the face, you like hitting them back in the face. But your personality is going to dictate what kind of martial art you do too. All right, once you get that wrist roll, you go into your... My point is, don't let anybody tell you you can't do one or the other, because this is good and that's bad. You have to remember, it's not good, it's not bad, it's different. And a lot of people can't see the difference because someone put some garbage in their head and said, yeah, all that other stuff, that's all garbage. Only this is the right way. It's not true. There's many right ways. And we all have different body styles, right? Some people have long legs, some people have short legs. Some people have long torso, short torso. Some people are broad like me, some people are narrow. And we all have different life experiences. So you find what works for you and don't care about what anybody else says. Go to your figure eight. Notice that you're holding it here close to the string, and that's because I'm gonna have you do a wrist roll on both sides. So you go figure eight, and when you're ready, throw in a wrist roll. When you're ready, throw in a wrist roll, or you can do a wrist, or you can drop it. If you drop it, pick it up, and then keep going. And then do a wrist roll, into a wrist roll, into a wrist roll, and do continuous wrist rolls. And I'm gonna show you this. This is a clockwise circle in front of your body. This and this are the same. It's an orbital. It's just bigger, a bigger motion done from your elbow instead of from your wrist. So once you get here, you're gonna throw it around and let it be caught in the same hand. When you throw it, your palm is facing up. When you catch it, your palm will be facing the dirt. I like to think of it as a clock. This is clockwise. When you hit about 10 o'clock, you're gonna let it go. You're gonna catch it over here about 1 o'clock. So you're bringing it around, you let it go, and you catch it. Notice that when you do that, it's gonna make a full rotation, and you're gonna catch this. So you let this one go, and if you drop it again, you're gonna catch it. You let that one go, you're catching the same stick. Now you don't have to remember all that, because it's gonna be naturally instinctive, and you're gonna figure it out. When you put it in the other hand, you reverse it counterclockwise, throw it at 1, catch it about 11 if you can, 11 or 10 o'clock. Catching the same stick. And I told you, when it's late and I'm tired, I drop it a lot more. You let it go with palm up, you catch it with the palm down. All right. Now, just found a screw on the garage. Make sure there aren't any screws or nails in the garage floor. They'll end up in your tire. Wonder where that came from. Sorry, got distracted. Then you go into your, oh wait, we gotta do the other one first. We go into the clockwise, first hand. When you let it go, you're gonna catch it with the other hand. Now the difference here is you're still letting it go with the palm facing up. You're still letting it go about here. And then when you catch it, you're gonna catch it in the same position, but with the other hand, you let it go, catch it, you reverse it, let it go, catch it, and then when you're ready, you go into your figure eight, and it's exact same motion, and I'll show you more.